Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and we are back today. Final preview and prediction video, Week 17 against the New England Patriots. And guess what? You know what? I'm gonna have a drink with you today, Dolphins fans. Because to be quite honest with you, when we were 8-3, I didn't imagine this Week 17 game against the Patriots playing out this way without QB1 and being as damn important as it is. So join me, throw a little bit of Bailey's in your coffee. Let's make a damn day out of it. But I'm going to make my way through some viewer submitted questions before giving my final score prediction for this game. But I want to hear from you as well. Go ahead, drop your final score predictions in the comments. Let's carry on the conversation there leading up into game time on Sunday. We got a lot of them, and I got a lot of quarterback questions specifically this week. As you can imagine, and rightfully so, the Tua talk, the concussion talk has dominated the week. So I'm going to knock those out first. I'm going to kind of skim through them a little bit quicker, and I've actually sort of combined a few of them because there were a few that were so similar to each other. So let's just jump right into this right away. So assuming Tua is done, what options do the Dolphins have for next season? Now, I am absolutely purposely starting with this one because I am a big believer that Tua isn't done. And I think that this retirement talk is coming out of left field and it is floated around way too loosely by a ton of people on social media. And that's where people get their news now. So you read a few things on social media, it starts gathering traction, and now you're thinking, well, these are Tua's options. I really don't think it's that way. And also, I'm not really on board with speculating about other quarterbacks when I truly think Tua is going to be here and he's not stepping away anytime soon. If you saw the last couple of days, both Tua's offseason trainer and his brother had put out statements, had been asked about this, and neither of them said really anything about retirement. It was like, no, he's treating this like it's a typical injury, just like he did with the last concussion. He's working back one day at a time. Retirement's really not in the conversation right now. So I appreciate that question. I understand the question, but if that were to come to fruition, I personally would want to put more time, more effort, more prep into these realistic options for my answer. So hopefully that makes sense. But I did want to address that quick. Let's go to this one. So now, assuming Tua comes back, how do you envision next season in terms of success and health? Now, this is a tricky question, but I love the question in general. I'm going to talk more about this one. I don't think the Miami Dolphins front office ever thought that like they could skimp on having a quality backup quarterback when Tua was going to be our guy. They knew his injury history. They knew what we were signing up for. We knew that signing a backup quarterback with a starting pedigree to an extent was necessary. But now the concussion issues, that's just been heightened. So to answer this, I'd like to say, you know what? Tua is going to be healthy. We're going to take the steps forward that a quarterback and an offense naturally would in year two of an offense and in a scheme. But the quarterback two, the backup quarterback discussion, in my opinion, just got very, very interesting because let's go back in time to this offseason. We keep Skylar Thompson. And Skylar Thompson looked good throughout training camp, offseason, preseason. And it's like, you know what? We're keeping this guy. He's got a realistic shot to be this team's quarterback too moving forward. Well, I think that conversation changes a little bit now because I honestly think that we signed Teddy Bridgewater to be one of the league's highest paid backup quarterbacks, veteran presence. Now, from what we've seen from Skylar Thompson, not saying that he can't be the team's backup, but I think the team will opt to maybe go that veteran route in regards to the backup quarterback position again. Now, whether that's Teddy or whether that's another veteran, that's where I think the biggest change comes in regards to this team's quarterback room. And like I said, I might be way off, but it's a little early to speculate, but I did want to answer that question. So I think the biggest change ends up coming in that backup quarterback room. I think we see time spent, money spent again on another quality backup. I'm going to show this next one up here. I'm going to take a drink. Go ahead and drink as well. This Skylar Thompson, going to look as QB1 next year. To be honest, I'm throwing it up, but I think the end of my last answer kind of summarized Skylar and answered this question. So yeah, I think he has an opportunity to compete for backup quarterback duties. I think he'll be held on at the worst case scenario as the quarterback 3 behind a new veteran. So like I said, I kind of answered that one in the last one, but wanted to at least address it here. I really like this question. We're moving away from quarterback talk here for a second. What's most likely to happen? Miami Dolphins clinch their playoff berth this week, they clinch it next week, or they miss out on the playoffs entirely. So let's go through this quick, because if they clinch this week, that means they needed to win against the Patriots and they needed the Jets to lose. And the Jets are currently favored by 1.5 at Seattle. So a very close game. If they were to clinch next week, that means they beat Patriots, one of a couple options. They beat the Patriots this week and they beat the Jets next week. And it's done. That's that. We make the playoffs. Or if we lose this week against the Patriots, then we need to beat the Jets week 18, and then we need to have the Patriots lose to the Bills in week 18. And I went ahead to see the point spread in that game. Vegas currently has the Buffalo Bills favored by 10 in week 18 against the Patriots. So I'd love to make it happen this week. That would make this go from like a nervous, anxious drink to a celebratory drink. Speaking of, let's take one. But I got to say, point spread in this game, our game week 17, it's about 50-50. The Jets game is about 50-50. So realistically, if I have to answer this, I'm going to say next week. 3 reasons. 1, because if we take care of both games on our end, it's guaranteed. 2, Bills over Patriots week 18 feels safer than Seahawks over Jets in week 17. And 3, Dolphins. History says this team is going to make us sweat it out. We're going to be nervous. We're not going to get business taken care of any second earlier than it needs to. So they're going to make us sweat this one out. Let's talk about this one as well. Any chance the Miami Dolphins are bulking up Eric Ezukanma and training him to be a tight end? Now, I'm going to admittedly say I hadn't thought about this. The question, the person that asked this question said, like, I got a conspiracy theory, and I hadn't thought about this theory until now, until prepping for this video. But to answer this, I don't think this is the case. Ezukanma is 6'2", 205 pounds. So could he bulk up? Absolutely. With that frame, he's got the size where he could do it. But the biggest reason I don't think that it's happening, let's look at Mike Gesicki right now. 6'6", 250 pounds. He has played his entire collegiate and professional career at tight end, training specifically to be a tight end. If this coaching staff, with a new offensive line coach, new offensive coordinator, all these guys that have been with Mike McDaniel understand the importance of tight end blocking. If they couldn't turn him into an adequate enough blocker to be on the field more than he already is, which we know the offense demands of the tight end position, I don't think they're going to try to run that experiment with a position change of a 4th-round rookie wide receiver who doesn't have any experience playing tight end. He's a guy that, despite that huge frame, he was actually one of the better after-the-catch type of guys. I think they're going to leave him at wide receiver, use this season essentially as a redshirt season. Plus, look at our roster. We got Tanner Connor sort of for that experimental phase. 6'3", 230 pounds. He's the former wide receiver, but they've been able to use him all season as like this speed, maybe kind of hybrid type of tight end. So I think he's your experiment here rather than Eric Ezukanma. Got a few more I want to hit on here before the prediction. How does the turmoil of this season compare to other letdown we've had as fans? And God, I thought about this one and we could go multiple ways, but for time purposes today, I want to let you guys be able to refill your cup if you need to. I've got a quick list that I made of just outright disappointment moments, and I'm sure that I'm missing a few, maybe even some obvious ones. So go ahead, drop those in the comments as well if you've got them. Let me give you a quick 5 that I've got. 1, Ricky Williams retiring nearly killed me. 2, finally making the playoffs in 2017, but then not having Ryan Tannehill start that game, having Matt Moore. Very Dolphins of us. 3, having to go out of my way to watch every single snap from a season that we went 1-17. You know what that did for me? That led to a higher alcohol tolerance for me. That's what that did. 4, watching Dan Marino go out 62-7. That ruined a portion of my childhood. And 5, there's a definitely some viewers that'll understand this one. The drafting of Ted Ginn's family. I had to put that one in there. But like I said, I want to hear yours. What ones did I leave out? Let's do this question. One more here before we get into the prediction. What can the Dolphins do in the future to turn around the stigma for their fans? Now, this is a loaded question that I also could likely do an entire video about. Maybe I should do that this offseason. But to summarize, in my opinion, what the deepest issue is, we would need a change in ownership. Starts from the top down. Most people have been in like some sort of toxic work or relationship environment. Let's stick with the work environment. It makes more sense in this scenario. It starts from the top down. I could go on to this forever, but there are countless examples of Stephen Ross just proving time and time again that he's one of the worst owners in the league. This last season's Tom Brady, Sean Payton example, that just happens to be the latest one, but it's a terrible one that ended up costing us a first-round draft pick. So long story short, an ownership change. Let's jump into this prediction, Miami Dolphins fans. All right, here it is. Dolphins 17, Patriots 14. So one way or another, I think that we were looking at a close game, a one-possession game, a game that could be decided on the final drive. Like I said, I absolutely hate the fact that Tua is out of this game, that he doesn't get an opportunity to really kind of like, I don't want to say like put a stamp on the season, but to really prove that he's the guy that got us here. He is the reason. He is the quarterback that can lead us to the playoffs. I hate that for him, that he can't play that role this week. And trust me, when Tua's been out this season, what have we done? Just more losing. So it hasn't gone well. But the difference, in my opinion, between this week Tua being out and those previous weeks with Tua being out is the opponent. Now going into Foxboro and leaving with a win, it's never been easy. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but we are running into an opponent that is literally sliding just like we are. The Patriots have lost 4 of their last 5. Now, if you go back, they went on a 3-game winning streak prior to that. Those 3 wins came against the Jets twice and the Indianapolis Colts. And one of those wins against the Jets, we talked about it earlier in the week in a preview video. They won it on like a last-second punt return, 10-3. So they're not on an impressive run either. No, and we're not doing anything incredible either. I'm not breaking news. You all know that. 4-game losing streak. Tua is out. Look at the injury report. Friday's final injury report. Ingold and Chubb, both questionable. Teron Armstead didn't practice all week. He's very questionable. The 2 backups behind Teron Armstead are questionable. Xavier Howard, I don't believe, practiced on Friday. He's questionable. This is not going to be easy. But I also think the injuries are going both ways. The Patriots are all banged up. Both Marcus and I'm blanking on the other Jones's name. Both of their Joneses are the Joneses. They're both out of this game. But at the same time, like what's good about that is Teddy Bridgewater isn't some rookie quarterback that's just going to shy away from the moment, shy away from week 17 playoffs in a roundabout way being on the line. I just personally think that this team has enough. We can dig down deep, find enough to put a 4-quarter game together to the point where we can win a close, low-scoring game at the end, because that's what I got it predicted. I don't think it's going to be offensive fireworks by any means. I do think it's going to be fairly low-scoring. Vegas has it being low-scoring. I think the over-under is going to be 41 based on the last that I looked. I'll take a win however it comes. However, I'm predicting a low-scoring, one-possession game, field goal game for the Miami Dolphins. But like I said, I want to hear from you as well. Drop your final score predictions in the comments. Sorry for going long. I had a lot of good questions that I wanted to get to today. So drop your final score predictions in the comments. Drop those disastrous Miami Dolphins moments in the comments. I want to hear your nominations for that as well. I will be back most likely Sunday at some point after the game, as usual, giving a recap and takeaways. So cheers, Dolphins fans. Let's get this damn win. Let's get back in the win column. And hey, maybe next time we're talking, we'll be talking about securing a playoff spot here. So that's what I got for today, Dolphins fans. Cheers and fins up.